welcome to our brand new series, Destination Do-Over. My name is Samuel.
And I'm Amanda.
And we're from NOLA Studios, a production house from Atlanta, Georgia that releases travel-related content. We have 7 days to explore this beautiful city, which means we have a full agenda. So we packed as many cultural experiences, historical landmarks, signature cuisines, and travel tips as we possibly can.
So stay tuned for our 8-part series, Destination Do-Over.
It's very early in the Garden District this morning, and we are in Lafayette Cemetery number 1. And this offers us the perfect opportunity to talk about cemeteries in New Orleans.
But first, on our first day here, we took a nice walk around the French Quarter, had lunch, and got a little seasick on the famous Natchez riverboat and toured the Audubon Aquarium and Riverwalk. But as Sam said, today we begin our exploration into some New Orleans history.
New Orleans is a city that actually sits below sea level, so there became a bit of a problem whenever it would flood, which was often, and that would be floating bodies. So they had to come up with a new solution for their burial traditions.
And I know what you're thinking, cremation is the answer, but actually they view cremation as a sinful act. So therefore, they built these tombs, they placed the bodies inside of them, and the sun naturally cremates them, thus eliminating the sinfulness.
And that's why New Orleans has these super unique cemeteries.
This one, Lafayette Cemetery number 1, is located in the Garden District. This district was created between the mid-19th century and the 20th century. This district is home to many large Southern American mansions.
It was mostly sold to wealthier white Americans who didn't want to live in the French Quarter with the Creole inhabitants. Joke's on them though, because it was actually created by Creole architect and designer Barthélemy Lafont.
Lafont was busy enough in his life to have a whole episode just to himself. Outside of being an architect, he was also a pirate.
But let's talk about the cemetery itself.
Or at least that's what they thought.
Ladies and gentlemen, cemetery is closed for today. Ladies and gentlemen, cemetery is closed for today.
Not even the best made plans can help for funerals sometimes, so we decided to explore the houses of the Garden District instead.
This is Colonel Short's Villa, 1448 4th Street. Historically, it housed a colonel, a federal governor, and a major general before being returned to the original owner, Colonel Robert H. Short. This one is the Briggs-Staub House. The Briggs-Staub House was built in 1849 for Cuthard Built. He refused to pay for it, and the house was sold to the English insurance broker, Charles Briggs. It is the only example of neoclassical architecture in the Garden District. This one is called the Women's Opera Guild. It was built in 1865, and since 1966, it has served as the home of the Women's Guild of the New Orleans Opera Association. This one is called the Archie Manning House. Archie was a quarterback for the Saints, which for those of you like me who don't follow sports, is the NFL team based in New Orleans. His son Eli and Peyton spent their childhoods in this home and then became pretty famous quarterbacks themselves. Apparently the Mannings are still full-time residents. The Morris Israel House was built in the 1860s. It's Italianate, haunted, and it was the model for the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland.
And with that, we have made a circle back around to Lafayette Cemetery, so let's go see the last couple of sites for this episode. We have some honorable mentions that we will not be visiting from the business district because of time restraints.
We're starting this off in Lafayette Square. According to NewOrleans.com, Lafayette Square has been the site of inaugurations, yearly pilgrimages by high school bands, jazz concerts, and all kinds of other things for over 150 years.
Next is Old St. Patrick's Church.
This church was made for the Irish immigrants who needed a place to worship because St. Louis Cathedral often had their masses in French.
The next place we wanted to see is a bit of a niche monument. You're not going to find it on any what to see in New Orleans list, but
I love Italian modern language and culture, so I knew we had to come see Piazza d'Italia in New Orleans.
it's conveniently located right next to the Italian Cultural Center here in New Orleans, so you can find out about Italian culture in New Orleans while you're here.
So it's about midday here in New Orleans. The sun is very high in the sky, and this July heat is really killing us.
I think that means it's time for some lunch. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. And if you haven't seen, we have part 1 that's going to be in a link down in the description below.
And in the comments, go ahead and tell us what you are excited to see when we finally explore the most historic part of New Orleans, the French Quarter.
And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can see when we publish content.